Welcome back. And now it's time for our press review. We're going to take a look at the main headlines of our Egyptian dailies. And first of all, allow me to welcome my guest for today, Dr. Walaa, Professor of Political Marketing. First of all, good morning.
Good morning and happy Ramadan.
Happy Ramadan to you. And let me start by taking a look at the banner of Akhbar al-Yawm. Egypt's Supreme State Security Prosecution has ordered the recovery of the data from the cockpit voice recorder found on Thursday from the Egypt Air flight that crashed into the Mediterranean Sea in late May, killing all 66 people on board. We have more details in the following report. A search team on Thursday recovered the cockpit voice recorder from Egypt airplane that crashed into the Mediterranean last month, killing all 66 people on board. According to Egypt's Civil Aviation Authority, the device was found broken into pieces, but salvage experts managed to retrieve the recorder's crucial memory unit. A statement said officials were preparing to transfer the recorder from a search vessel in the Mediterranean to Egypt for analysis. The cockpit voice recorder keeps track of conversations and other sounds in the pilot's cabin. Search teams are still looking for the flight data recorder, which gathers information about the speed, altitude, and direction of the plane. The breakthrough came hours after a deep-sea robot located pieces of the main body of the plane at the bottom of the Mediterranean. The search vessel equipped with an underwater robot arrived in Egypt last week to begin searching an area around 290 kilometers or 180 miles north of the Egyptian coast. The robot discovered pieces of the fuselage at several sites. A source close to the investigation said the robot had found small fragments of the plane. Some wreckage had already been pulled out of the Mediterranean by search teams last month, along with belongings of passengers. The area where the plane crashed is believed to be about 3,000 meters or 10,000 feet deep, and the black boxes should have had enough battery power to emit signals for 4 to 5 weeks. Airbus said the flight recorders held the key to unlocking the mystery of why the plane went down en route from Paris to Cairo. An Airbus statement said the first photos of the wreckage do not allow to establish any scenario of the accident, adding that only the black boxes could contribute to a full understanding of the chain of events which led to this tragic accident. France Aviation Safety Agency has said the Egypt airplane transmitted automated messages indicating smoke in the cabin and a fault in the flight control unit minutes before disappearing from radar screens. Welcome back. I'm talking about this tragic accident that took place, and definitely we are all curious to know what really happened. Of course, we want to understand, and just as mentioned in the report, we cannot make scenarios, but at least in a very short period of time, I think we can reach something.
As you said, in a very short period of time, we have found the black box in the Mediterranean Sea. It may take a lot of months to be found, but it is found right now. Yes, part of it is damaged, but is the most important part, which is the memory, and the memory is safe, and that. Or I won't tell you, we are not responsible to investigate, but we are waiting for the real announcement from the real announcement, of course, of the government, for the sake of the families and for the sake of Egypt too. But let us predict what it may be, or in our own consideration, even if whatever there is a technical problem, it can be mentioned or seen or anything that can be recognized. But I think in my own prediction, which is I'm responsible for, it's a crash or it is a shoot on spot once it's up on the Mediterranean Sea. So let's wait for the formal announcement to stop predictions about that, and let's ask Allah that the 66 souls rest in peace.
Right. Moving on to another headline. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi stressed on Thursday on the importance of ending the development projects of the Suez Canal economic zone, especially those related to the infrastructure, such as roads and tunnels. More details in the following report. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi held a meeting on Thursday with Prime Minister Sherif Ismail and Chief of the General Authority of the Suez Canal Industrial Zone Ahmed Darwish to review the most important running projects in the zone. Presidential spokesperson Ala Youssef said Darwish had reviewed the most important running projects in the Suez Canal Industrial Zone and the efforts exerted to attract more investments to the Suez Canal access. He said plans of developing the industrial zone in the canal would be carried out on two stages. The first will be finished by 2030 and the second will end by 2050 on a space of land of 450 square kilometers, including 6 harbors. The project comprises establishing two developing zones in Port Said and Ain al-Sukhna, a logistics services zone and a residential area, in addition to two developing areas in western Kantara and eastern Ismailia. According to Darwish, the authority approved to establish 3 projects in El Ain al-Sukhna and Port Said harbors at a cost of $1 billion. Welcome back. And talking about the projects taking place, the Suez Canal access, and definitely we used to talk about the Suez Canal as a project, as a mega project, but also we used to focus on the important part, which is talking about the projects that will take place, whether small and medium projects taking place all around the axis of the Suez Canal.
You know, at the inauguration of the new channel for the Suez Canal, the president announced that there will be more than one project that will take place in order to develop and have a direct effect on the Egyptian economy. And yes, and we were asking as citizens, where are those projects? And now we started on implementing or setting plans for, and those plans by set date 2030 and 2050 to be achieved or to be developed. The most important thing that I would like to talk here about ruling the government, that it may focus on persons, which means, yes, the meeting is had with the president and the prime minister, Sherif Hilmi, and Mr. or Dr. Ahmed Darwish. Those projects or those protocols must be signed forever, not in terms of the Prime Minister only and Dr. Ahmed Darwish only, because we have suffered from changing prime ministers or whom are responsible about those projects. So set the plan and work on regardless who is managing that plan. And inshallah, it will have a good impact. Not only Egypt is waiting for that achievement, but also the whole world is waiting to see what we have said, what we have announced. Now we are achieving, and that's what we were talking about last weeks ago, to talk about the projects we signed or we announced, what about it, and this is one of it. So that's good news.
Moving on to another headline. Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry received on Thursday France's Middle East peace envoy Pierre Vimont, who is in a current visit to Egypt. The two officials discussed the latest efforts aimed at boosting peace negotiations in the Middle East. Vimont briefed Shoukry on his intended talks with the Palestinians and Israelis. Foreign Ministry spokesman Ahmed Abu Zaid said that the French envoy was keen to hear the Egyptian views regarding the peace process. Well, of course, we have a deep relation with France, and France is one of the countries who is always supporting the Middle East, Egypt, talking about the Palestinians as well, and maybe they can do something in such a situation.
You know, France, among years, regardless with the presidents of Egypt or the Arab countries, it's supporting the Arab country in general. no evidence of a bad scene or a terrorism scene towards the Arab countries or towards the Arab world. Also, let's talk about the relation between France and Egypt too. It's very strong after what happened since 2 weeks ago, after we made that at the sea, that for the flights to be on. And also the relation between Egypt and France is very strong enough to talk and discuss the issue or the file of Palestine and Israel, which is very important as France has no interest in that file except the stability of the Arab world, not seeking for Israel or for the sake of Israel, nor Palestinians, nor it's seeking for peace in the Arab area in general, which is more important.
Right, moving on to Al-Ahram Online. Two policemen were shot dead on Thursday morning in Al Arish of North Sinai. This is according to Egypt's Interior Ministry. Four masked gunmen approached the house where the two policemen were staying in the North Sinai provincial capital, Al Arish, and opened fire on them, the ministry added in a statement. And we always talk about what is happening in Sinai. It will never end so far. It will take some time, right? But at least we have to praise the role played by our policemen, the Egyptian armed forces, and all people actually who are on war 24 hours.
Yes, I do. I do remember since we met since 2 weeks ago that I told you that Sinai is in a real war and they will not stop shooting, and we will face more and more of that, especially in Ramadan, regardless what the holy months and what we are in. So that's what we are talking on. Allah save our policemen and our soldiers in Sinai, because Sinai, yes, is all over Sinai, all over the places in Sinai is in a real war, and we have to be aware of that.
But actually still we have to mention that it is under a full control of the Egyptian armed forces.
Of course.
And this is the most important part. Regardless of whatever trials they are doing, the Egyptian armed forces is capable of just securing all the area, and this is maybe the most important part that bothers many people.
Yes, bother them, but makes us feel sad about those who died.
Of course,
yeah,
yes.
For the sake of souls, the Egyptian souls that goes on. Hope to overcome that war, and yes, it's under control, but we lost souls as saving our country and saving Sinai, and Allah keep it for us.
God bless our martyrs. Moving on to Al-Wafd newspaper. Minister of Finance Amr Al-Garhi said that his ministry is ready to enforce the law of the value-added tax, the VAT, a month after the House of Representatives issues it. He pointed out the government had already sent the bill to the House of Representatives. Experts of State Council amended and revised the bill. And the minister said that the shift to the VAT aimed at achieving additional revenues to the public treasury by about 1% of the GDP. How do you read this?
Whatever talking about the economic or the stock market, anything that happened in, I'm not specialized in economic to read that or to analyze that in a professional way. To read it from the political, any value added in taxes that it may have a negative effect, especially in that
critical period of time.
Yes, very critical period of time. This is from the point of politics, let's say so, to not only economics. And for sure, it will have some negative effect on the economic, especially as an increase or to add a value for taxes more and more after that month. So they have to revise about or take that action in consideration too.
Right, and from Al-Ahram newspaper, Egypt's stock rebounded on Thursday to close up the trading that saw non-Arab foreign investors as the only net buyers. And the main EGX index, EGX 30, rose slightly 0.8% to register 7,420 points in a session that saw a modest daily turnover for listed securities reaching some 443.7 million Egyptian pounds. I always say that the stock market, Egyptian stock market, is not the real mirror or cannot reflect the real status of economic status in Egypt, but it is a place, it's all about businessmen. It's a business style.
A lot of contracts or investments or international or and multinational organizations seeking for investing here in Egypt, but that does not have a direct effect, as you said, on the stock market, but it really affects on the long term, not on the short term. So it will last as it is for a while, but I think that also that the government, that the projects that the government sign will have a direct effect too on the stock market, but on the long term too.
Right, and still we have something here about the Central Bank of Egypt that has decided to raise interest rates by 100 basis points after core inflation rate that hit a 7-year high in May. So still, let me move on also to another headline, because this is something important before we conclude very quickly, that the Information and Decision Support Center issued a report on the increase in food prices from June 6 to 12, including meat, fish, cheese, and milk. The report said that the prices of poultry, rice, and oil have also decreased.
We are talking about decreasing the prices, the price of the food or the supplements, especially on that period of time. It's very high and very top, and all citizens are suffering from that. And on the other hand, the income is the same, or let's say that there are a very large number of unemployed people, or the work for them, not hiring them. So and on the other hand, the supplements, as you said, the fish, the rice, and what that most,
and even including the middle class people as well, all
suffering,
of them, because
yes.
the salaries are the same. So
Yes.
whatever you'll have more responsibilities with the same amount of money that you earn. So definitely you will be suffering as well.
Yes.
Right, at the end, Dr. Walaa Wasfi, Professor of Political Marketing, always a pleasure having you with us on the show.
It's mine. Okay.
And still we have more on our breakfast show. So let's move on to a quick break, and we'll be back to resume our breakfast show.